at the end of the day, it's all opinion. It's all trying to bring excitement to the game. And if you hate our opinion, then I understand. You can hate our opinion. You're going to disagree. People disagree with Stephen A. Smith all the time. He has a bunch of hot takes.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's an opinion. And I think what our purpose is, we're serving that purpose. We're providing a spotlight to, for one, the SSC, which is a conference that we played in that doesn't get as much recognition as the Catholic League or the CPS. I feel like we're in our purpose, and we're doing that, which is providing coverage to the conference that we once played in while we were in high school. So however y'all, the lawyers or the real estate agents feel, just know I got my opinion. Y'all got y'all's. Y'all can hate me all you want, but we're going to still provide spotlight to y'all because we feel like the SSC deserves it. Yep. And Richards has been balling. North has been balling. Lamont has been balling. Yep. Shepherd has been balling. Yep. The SSC has been balling, and we're going to continue to show that to the world. Yeah. No matter what y'all think about our power rankings.
Yep. And I think that's just that's a great thing to do, is because all of the major platforms are going to cover the best teams.
They're going to cover the CPS.
Who are going to be the best? They're going to cover the Catholic League, the Southwest Suburban, like all of those teams.
The top players in the state.
We all know for a fact that there's great football being played all over, and we want to do our best to, recognize as many teams and people as we can. You know what I mean? Just because I feel like they deserve the spotlight. They deserve it. They're playing good football. They're winning games. They're putting up numbers. They deserve to be talked about. So that's just really the mission, the goal of this platform, is just to show love and create exposure, because it's really limited, because everybody wants to cover the absolute best. Okay, we know Mount Carmel's good. We know Morgan Park's good. We know Lincoln Way East is good. We know these teams are good, but what about the other teams who are also good, but probably can't compete against those teams, but they still deserve some recognition? That's what it's about.
I think all we doing is putting you got the spotlight of the Catholic League and, the CPS and all of that over here. What we're doing is like, let's kind of move it right here in this small little space right here. You know what I mean? I think that's all we're doing at the end of the day.
See, I'm putting in all this work in the all season. All season. I can dominate all season. Putting in work in the all season. All season. So I can dominate all season. Putting in work in the all season. All season.
Welcome to another episode of the Off-Season Podcast. This is episode 25. 25,
they ain't seen us in a long time.
They ain't seen us in a long time, but we've been busy. We've been busy because it's been a very, very, very exciting high school football season. Exciting football in general, college football, NFL, high school football. All of it is back and it is in full swing, man. Today we got FA on my left and Dan on my left as well, and then Trey is on the ones and twos. How y'all feeling, man?
Good.
How y'all feeling, bro? I'm so excited about this episode. I was telling you that after we went to the Shepherd game, I was saying like, bro, we got to do a mid-season recap or something because it's a lot happening in this season.
For sure.
Like a lot of things that we made some predictions on the last episode as far as like how we thought this season would go. I would say some of our predictions, was a little spot on. Some of it was like, damn, we were wrong. And we got to accept like, okay, we were wrong about that. But I think that's what high school football is, right? You never really know what to expect. And you never really know what a team truly has until they put on them pads and they playing each other, man.
Yeah, you can't go based off last year. You know what I mean?
You can't go based off last year.
People step up, so yeah, everything could change.
Yeah.
Year-to-year turnover is crazy, and those underclassmen coming up, who's gonna show out? It's tough to predict.
Yeah, I think one of the things I remember when we made the prediction about Mount Carmel, I think my prediction was that I don't really know where they're gonna be this year because there's so many unknowns. And shoot, Jack Elliott was just like, forget the unknowns. I am that guy.
Yeah.
I am that guy. And my Carmel's been playing well that we even have them sitting in our off-season power rankings at number one. I think across the board we have Mount Carmel at number one, right?
Across the board, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Undebatable. Really undebatable.
Even, tied the record for passing touchdowns
Yeah.
in the game.
That was crazy. What was that, like 6?
7.
Yeah, that was crazy.
We've been having some crazy performances like that in Illinois football. Like this year, I think Jonas threw for 6 touchdowns.
He should be in college already, like playing. He should be at Oregon balling already, but that's besides the point. Go ahead.
Yeah, then Andre, he just went off 7 touchdowns.
Crazy.
You know what I mean? So U of I commit, Blue Island, Eisenhower. So yeah, we had some crazy performances. It all happened in the same week, like last week. is really when a lot of those performances happen. So 6, 7 touchdown games, those are like career games for some high school kids that happen in one game for them. So yeah, it's been crazy.
Yeah, I would say the biggest surprise. I mean, and y'all may agree or disagree, but I would say to me the biggest surprise is how Loyola is playing. I wouldn't say they're playing bad, but I expected them to still be undefeated at this point. East St. Louis was definitely a victory that I mean a game that I think they would like to have back, especially since they had more of their health during that game, and pretty much it was a lopsided game. I was there, I got the full game highlights of that. But then coming back, I think they played Glenbard West the following week and got a good dub. And then I think they've been, having, a tough season since then.
But then they lost to St. Francis.
Yep.
But then they picked it back up. So, I mean, for me, it's hard to match what they've done. You know what I mean? Like the last 2 years and not losing a game and the success that they've had. So, I mean, everybody will look at it as up to that standard, where it's like they was undefeated. They went to the, to state, doing a lot of different state. Yeah, they won state. So, I mean, anything less than that will be looked at as, a lesser season. But for me, it's just like losing is a part of it,
football.
Bro. Yeah, to go undefeated is unrealistic. It was like we gonna win every game. So, sometimes it's just a better team's night. So, but I still think they're a great team, and I still think they'll go deep in the playoffs and possibly win another state championship. So, I think the next biggest game for me, them playing, is Mount Carmel, where they can, test how good they really are. But other than that, I think they play Providence, a couple other teams. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to that Mount Carmel team to see, how they really stack up and how good they are, which I think it'll be a great game.
Let's not forget too, Ryan Fitzgerald, the starting QB, Iowa commit. He's been hurt for a couple weeks now with a hamstring injury. So,
I forgot about that.
A lot of this has been more difficult for that reason alone. If he gets healthy, why not? Maybe they end up, back in the state finals in the spring. Yeah,
that's a great point. And then, I think y'all both made great points, because who's the team that started off 0-4 last year? And they ended up, and they ended up winning the state title against who they played, St. Lawrence or somebody in the state championship?
They played, I can't remember. Who did
Joliet Catholic?
Joliet Catholic.
Joliet
Catholic, yep.
Okay, so I agree with what y'all say. I mean, it's still, we're halfway through the season, but it's still a lot of season left, still a lot of important games. As you mentioned, they played Mount Carmel at the end of the season, and I think that'll be a true test. But then also, hopefully with Ryan Fitzgerald comes back. Fitzgerald. Why do I, for some reason,
Fitzpatrick. Magic.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. why did I? It's Ryan
Fitzgerald.
It's Fitzgerald. Why do I want to say Fitzpatrick so much?
I don't know.
Who name is Fitzpatrick?
We all want to say Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick's the traveling backup QB. He's played for 12.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking of. Fitzmagic. That's what I'm for some reason I want to say Fitzpatrick. But yeah, hopefully he can come back, and that'll be, they can be at full strength by the time they play Mount Carmel. But man, the season is crazy. We even got to see Portage get their first win of the season after having a winless season the previous season. I thought that was a pretty cool thing to see.
Yeah, that was cool.
We didn't even expect. I remember we was walking up to the game when they was playing Morton, and we was thinking wait, this actually might be a really, really good game to catch, because Portage didn't win a game last year.
And they played them tough the year before.
Yeah.
So there was a close game when Morton beat Portage 2 years ago. It was a close game. So I figured that going in is with the stars that Morton had, everybody would predict them to win the game. But I was like, man, they played them close. So I think this would be a really good game. And it turned out to be a really good game.
Man, they followed that up with a win over Northwoods in Indiana.
A big win. Yeah.
Team in the state. So that's impressive. I know they've kind of hit a skid as of late, but they did sneak into our top 5 power rankings for
slightly a bit
as well.
Yeah,
it's a short stint, but
yeah. Speaking of the Duneland Conference, I would say, going back to our predictions of the last episode, I would say one of the things we hit it on the nail was Crown Point, man.
Yeah,
Crown Point. We got to see them in person, play Maryville, and it was a one-sided victory. It was crazy. Noah Ehrlich, Trevor Gibbs, and who's their running back name? Feed 3. Larry Ellison. Larry Ellison. Man, they all had phenomenal performances that game, and it was a straight beatdown, man. To the point that I'm like, who's gonna stop them in the DAC at least? I don't see anybody beating them in the Duneland
Hey,
Conference.
how good was Trevor Gibbs when you saw him?
A
And
dog.
Bro, you know, it's
He's only a junior.
It's articles and coaches saying that he's the greatest Crown Point player in history.
Bro,
Like,
I
was like, dang.
So when he got that offer from Illinois, was it 2 days ago?
Yeah.
I sent you the message. I said, put him on the list of the Illinois video that you're gonna make because he's a dog and he's playing both sides of the ball.
Right.
And he's big. He's not a small dude. And the thing that I love the most, that I always love, he's a junior.
Yeah.
He's a young guy, one of the best players on the team. So not only is he dominating now, when he comes back next year, we don't even know where his ceiling is at because he's only really in his first real senior season. I mean, his first real varsity season.
So I wonder if has he been playing all like
I don't know.
Like where did he come from? Because I didn't like last year. I don't remember hearing about him.
Was
with Crown Point?
Was a fixture in their lineup last year?
Okay,
Did
but
play a decent amount.
Yeah.
But he ballooned up to 6'3", 230 pounds this year.
Bro,
so.
he's
that's crazy.
beast, bro.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, I saw him in person. He was clearly one of the biggest guys on the field. And then when I found out he was a junior, I'm like, bro.
It's hard to project. Like, where does he play at the next level? Linebacker, safety? Can he play on the edge?
He'll probably be a
Tight
linebacker.
end?
He'll probably be like a linebacker. It's like I've seen him like just from film. I would have to see it in person, but I would say a linebacker for sure. Like he's
You ain't see him on offense?
Elite linebacker. Yeah, a lot of people are good. Like it's like that in high school. Even Drake Bowen, like he was one of the top running backs in the country at Andre, and playing linebacker at Notre Dame right now. But yeah, bro, a lot of those guys that play both ways, but that size, the way he looks, his stature, he looks like elite linebacker to me. But hey, who knows, bro? Who knows? Like,
Yeah, I was even telling Nora after the game, I'm like, if they keep playing like that, they can ride this wave all the way to state and probably win the state title. You know what I mean? I know what they lost to, was it Ben Davis last year?
Ben Davis, yeah.
With Ben Davis having a tough start this year, I mean, I don't really see anybody stopping them. Like, we've seen a lot of high school games. We've seen at least one game every week.
Yeah.
And I was telling you, Dan, as far as the teams that I seen that was shocking to me, not shocking to me, but as far as like they look like they are legit together, have it together. Crown Point was one of them. East St. Louis was another one. And I'm like, man, I don't know, bro. I really don't see anybody beating them.
Man, like when you just saying that, it made me think of something. What would be like a dream matchup for you cross the border, like Illinois, Indiana? How you just mentioned
I ain't gonna lie.
Seeing Crown Point and East St. Louis play, or seeing like Morgan Park and somebody, or Mount Carmel play. How do you think that would stack up? Let's say Crown Point and Mount Carmel, because I say they would be the two number ones.
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think there's a team better than East St. Louis in the state of Illinois. I don't think, and this may sound crazy, but I think East St. Louis, this is my opinion. Like, obviously this may be out of left field. I may be speaking prematurely or not being credible enough, but I seriously think East St. Louis is probably one of the best high school football teams I've seen in like a long time. And I seen Laquan Treadwell play with Creek Monique in person. You know what I mean? So that team was crazy, bro. Especially the way they put a beat down on Loyola. Yeah. Man, it was crazy, bro. Like, it was just a highlight reel the whole game. And I got the highlights on YouTube. Check it out.
Right.
But yes, bro, like I don't know where they're ranked at nationally right now, but I would say that they're definitely top 10 in the nation. And I'm standing on that, bro. Like, I'm standing on that. Like, I cannot wait till they play IMG Academy at the end of the season, because that'll be a true testament to what I'm saying right now. But I truly believe, and this is because I saw with my own eyes on the sideline, got every highlight play, they are a force to be reckoned with, bro.
Right. And you actually went down to Florida and you saw Edgewater play Jones.
I saw
so
Edgewater. I don't think they would have walked them, but I think they would have won.
They would have beat.
I think they would have won. I was more impressed with the performance that East St. Louis had than Jones. What was it? Jones High School? Did I play Jones and Edgewater? I felt like East St. Louis is probably one of the best high school teams in the nation. I'm not gonna go as far as say the best high school football team in the nation, but I do want to say that.
No, it'll be a stretch for sure. I'm telling you.
You gotta think, bro.
That's a stretch.
They're in like the class 6A, right?
Yeah, 6A. Yeah,
they're gonna get the chance.
No, I'm telling you. That's a stretch. I'm a fan, but it's some really, really good. We talking about DeSoto in Texas. We talking IMG, St. John Bosco, Modern. Like you, bro, it's some great high school teams.
I said what I said, bro.
I
said what I said.
Your prediction, IMG, East St. Louis. What's your prediction?
I think definitely. I'm not gonna say East St. Louis will walk any team in the nation. Let's get that clear. Right. I'm saying that As far as what I seen in person, and it's all the games that I've ever seen, high school games I've seen in my life, from when we were in high school all the way up until this point, and especially this season, I gotta say, I gotta take East St. Louis in a close game, bro, because for one, they play phenomenal football, bro. They play like, I wouldn't say flashy, but they got a lot of speed, bro.
Yeah.
And they're not tiny, but they're not the biggest guys either. And when I was watching them play Loyola, I'm thinking like, oh, Loyola kind of got a little bit of size over them, and Loyola may take this game. It may be a close one. They may take this game, and then next thing you know, I saw a touchdown come from I don't know number 3's name, but he's like one of the smaller people on the team. Had a touchdown. He was running all over the field. I'm like, bro.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude. So my prediction with IMG and East St. Louis, I would have to say East St. Louis. Until I see otherwise, I would have to say East St. Louis in a close one. Just because I think IMG has. Do they have any losses this year?
I'm not sure. I haven't checked their schedule, but
I think they have one
bro,
loss, right?
Like IMG is crazy, bro. I think they had. I saw a
East St.
video,
Louis
like,
is crazy.
bro, they had like 6. I think it said like 16 Division 1 or some nationally ranked players and on their offense or some crazy thing. Like, I think it's gonna be a good game, but I definitely want to see that. I definitely want to see. I haven't seen enough of IMG or looked into IMG to make a prediction on how they would play or how they would do, but. I just know IMG, but East St. Louis is good too. So I don't know. We'll see. I'll just see how
East St. Louis is legit, bro. And then the thing that I like about East St. Louis and I just saw it from just seeing them in person, their culture, bro. Like their coaching staff, their culture, the way the way the people showed out for them, like their fans and everything. Man, they had a bunch of people on the sideline just cheering them on. It was this one dude in like an all like Gucci suit, like
bro.
Bro, it was different. It's all
it's just
overall
the
what
culture,
I'm getting at. It's just the whole culture. You can tell that they got a big following, and it's like that family, that community that they got going on there outside of football. You know what I mean? Like you can just see a team as they play, and you could just tell the type of vibe and culture they got going on by just being in their presence. And that's what I felt with East St. Louis, man. I'm a big East St. Louis advocate, bro. Like after seeing them in person, bro, they clearly the best team in the state. Yeah. And I would love to see them play IMG. Like I can't wait to see that game.
I mean, we can make it happen.
They playing at? They playing in St. Louis?
East St. Louis.
It may be a discussion worth seeing.
Last week of the season.
Yeah,
it may be worth seeing.
I think why not? You know what I'm saying? Why not?
You think that'd be televised?
I'm sure somebody will be streaming.
It's number 23 in the nation versus IMG's top 10, so it's a top 25 matchup.
Yeah, I think for sure we could try to make we should make it out there.
Yeah,
and it's the last game of the season, right? So
yeah, I think so.
Mount Carmel Loyola, that's week 8.
They play.
Is that 8 or 9?
No, that's the last week of the season.
Oh, it's week 9 too.
Yeah, but it may be the same because I know when we saw East St. Louis, we also saw Batavia versus Glenbard West. And they was both in the same day, and we caught one during the day and the other one like night. So I don't know. I think I saw East St. Louis plays a night. I think they play a night game.
I'm sure that
probably
be a Saturday game. If I would, I had to guess that
we have to see
game probably be a Saturday. But definitely love to see that one in person.
Yeah.
Another huge surprise though of the season that I had, St. Laurence. I believe I remember somebody having them in their preseason power ranking.
That was you.
Wow. Here we are, St. Laurence 5-0 for the first time since 1979. How about it, guys?
I would say we've had a good discussion about that off cam. Because we was talking about how does St. Lawrence rank up against, the other teams in the Catholic League. And we were saying that should they be higher in our power rankings because they are undefeated? And we took into consideration that, well, they don't probably play as much as the tough competition. But what are your thoughts on that? I mean, it's not – you made a point of saying, well, it's not the kids' fault of who they padded up against. Right. They padded up against everybody, and they won. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. Yeah. They don't make the schedule. So what do y'all think about that?
No, that's definitely how I feel. Like, if you go out there and you undefeated, like, you're doing your job. Like, nobody should punish you because of who you play, because you don't determine who you play. But I guess just in our specific situation with us doing a top 5 ranking of the whole Catholic League, then that makes it a little bit difficult because we have to consider who you play. Because, like, yes, St. Lawrence is undefeated, but they don't play the same competition as Loyola, St. Rita. So it's like it's different. It's levels to the competition. So I guess when you're matching them up against different teams in the whole Catholic League, then you kind of have to consider who they play. But it's not to take anything away from St. Lawrence. It's just you're comparing them to all of the other schools, and you have to consider that. So I think that's just the only difference.
Which one you think is more important or more impressive, I should say? Loyola 3-2, right? More difficult competition, or St. Lawrence 5-0? Whose resume are you taking right now?
Who's a resume?
Loyola has played some heavy competition.
Yeah. I mean,
and they started their season off playing the number 1 team in the nation.
Yeah.
So
talking about number 1 team.
No, I'm joking, but they started off their season playing a tough team. Yeah. So I would say St. Lawrence is a more impressive resume just because of Loyola's standard. Since they went undefeated last year and they won a state title, they're underachieving. And you may throw, like you said, they have Ryan Fitzgerald is hurt right now, so it's like.
But his dad's the coach too, Pat Fitzgerald, right? So you got that experience, Big Ten coaching from Northwestern. Also, like that's got to set your ceiling higher. That's got to set your floor higher. And if you're not meeting that, injuries or not, like I don't know. To me, the standard is the standard.
Yeah, for sure.
Mike Tomlin said for the Steelers, the standard is the standard. And for Loyola, if you're losing more than like 1 game during the regular season right now, probably to Mount Carmel, I think that's a disappointment.
Yeah, definitely.
I would definitely say it's probably more impressive that St. Lawrence is undefeated right now.
I would say it's more impressive because it is a historic feat. Like, so it's like, okay.
You said since 1970?
Yeah, it's been, 40, 50 years, going on 50 years almost since they've done that.
Wow, man. That is spectacular. Like I said, it's a lot of things going on. One of the things I want to point out is I just want to talk about because I think they've been playing well. It's just they've been having a tough break is Brother Rice. I think every game that they lost was by 1 touchdown. And I think they went into OT against, who was that, Marist?
Was that Rita?
Let me see.
Marist or Rita?
Every game's been
whatever
so
it was.
close.
It was a close game. And I feel like it's tough because that's what the competition in the Catholic League is. You know what I mean? It's like every team is pretty solid, but some teams get the bad end of the stick because it has to be a winner and it has to be a loser. And unfortunately, Brother Rice, the Crusaders, they have been on the losing end of it more times than not this season. I think their only win is a 50-0 win, their first game of the season, and then the rest of them has been a separation of 1 touchdown.
And then they just beat St. Patrick 48-0.
Okay, so they have 2 wins now. Yeah. So I mean, still,
right now.
That's what I'm saying. So I mean, they've had it's been unlucky for them, but like we said before, they still got a lot of season left. They can go on a win streak and take that streak all the way into the playoffs. But we'll see, man. That Catholic League is loaded, though. Our power rankings for the Catholic League have constantly changed.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Like, they play Mount Carmel next, and they play St. Rita, and they have to play St. Ignatius. So that's a tough back end of the schedule. But for me, I was telling Dan when I was doing the rankings for the Chicago Catholic League, my rankings, it was like, man, it was such a toss-up for me. And I just had to leave it the same because nothing happened that definitively made me want to change anything. You know what I mean? Because it's like Providence beat St. Francis, and I had St. Francis in there, and then Naz, and it's just like everybody's beating everybody. You know what I mean? So it's just like it's very competitive as far as the Catholic League right now. It's very entertaining and competitive as far as like people winning and losing. Like Mount Carmel is the top dog of the Catholic League, but everything else is in shambles. You know what I mean? Everybody else could lose on any given day. So yeah, I enjoy that a lot.
Yeah. Switching gears, I want to switch it to the CPS real quick. Give a little talking points to Morgan Park. I know that was one of the predictions we made as well, is that Morgan Park was probably going to dominate the CPS. I mean, it's still a lot of season left, but so far, so good for them. I mean, they play. I know we went out to the Kenwood game. That offense is electric, but I think even more thing that I was impressed with Morgan Park was their defense. Jovan Clark, who was number 2 on Morgan Park?
Is that Jamari Washington?
I don't know, but he is a dog.
Wait, no. 2, that's Ahmad. That's Ahmad.
Yeah.
Ahmad is number 2.
Bro, dog. You could see him all. He's probably the reason why our video probably got at 10K, because his personality before the game was there. You could tell he was completely in it. Yeah. But man, that game between Morgan Park and Kenwood, I don't know if I say I was expecting it to be close, But the first half, it was a pretty good game. It was a really defensive game. And in the second half, Morgan Park came out firing.
Yeah.
I'm talking about first touchdown to Nazir Rakin, and then it was just it was all let loose from there.
Yeah.
Man, I definitely thought that was a good game though. What did y'all think about that? Or what do y'all think about the CPS in general?
I think the CPS is kind of set, you know, what it is. It's still 3 teams, you know, that are going to be at the top. For me, you know, we have Taft. Well, I have Taft and Lincoln Park in there also. There's some CPS schools playing good football right now.
When the Young's playing pretty good. I don't think they lost yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lincoln Park even, I think 5-0 too.
Yep. So yeah, a lot of teams are playing good. So it's like the chance, like, you know, we get to highlight different schools because obviously we're always going to talk about Simeon, Morgan Park, Kenwood. But it's just like there are other schools out there playing good football, you know, that deserve to be in the ranking. So yeah, that's why, you know, Taft, Lincoln Park is there. But it's still a big game out there to be played, and that's Simeon and Morgan Park. So that's the next big game in the CPS, and we'll see how
that's coming up soon, ain't it?
I have to check what week that is, but
that should be coming up very soon. If not this, no, I don't think it's this week. We'll see, but it's coming up very, very soon. I mean, the season is already approaching. And then, I mean, lastly, we gotta give some shout out to the SSC because that's probably our biggest following right now. I would say the biggest surprise out of the SSC. I mean, we already had Richards at number 1, so that's not really a surprise. We had them at number 1 in our preseason power rankings, but the team that we didn't have in our radar at all was Shepherd. And
Rose.
Boy, you know the thing that I like about that is that the fact that we didn't have them in our power rankings and they proved to us that they should be. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even think I really saw them were they in the comments with the preseason power rankings, really?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. And they the way that they proved that they deserved to be shown is that they was winning and they played ball and they played great ball. Noah Vaughn is they quarterback setting the tone for them. He is a dog, bro. His that one highlight run that we got, man, that was a crazy run that they played when they played against Argo. But the thing, like I said, the thing that I liked about Shepherd is that the fact that we didn't have them on their radar, and they forced us to essentially say, no, we are them. Stop playing with us.
Right.
They even ran down on us
when
we went to their game, but in good faith though.
Right.
Like it wasn't even in the sense of like disrespect at all. It was more so like, man, y'all need to stop playing with us, man. We are like the truth. We the real deal. And then even when we spoke to them after the game, they was very appreciative that we came out and covered them, but they wanted to show like we still got more to prove. We still got Richards to play, who they play, I believe, this week. And then they still got, I think, a few more conference games after that. So it's like we're going to see how they play against Richards and Shepherd, but that's going to be Shepherd's gonna be a team that we gotta keep paying attention to for the rest of the season for sure. Right. What do y'all think?
Right, and then for me, I got the utmost respect for Shepherd because that's the way that you handle it. Like, obviously, a lot of people see what we say and they may feel some type of way, but at the end of the day, we respect winning and we respect result. I don't care about who your coach is. I don't care about what reputation your program has, what you've done in the past, what highly rated players you have. It's about producing, and that's what it comes down to. So don't get in our comments talking crazy because y'all not ranked. Well, do you deserve to be ranked? How many games have you won? Like, that's what we going off of. We don't have any biases when it comes to what we do. We're looking on MaxPress. We're looking at getting all the information we can to make sound decisions on who we want ranked, and there's no biases in it. And we can't argue with numbers. If you're winning, if you putting out good quality football, we cannot argue with that. We can't be against it. It's as clear as day. You know what I mean? Some things it's not as clear. So we just have to go based off on what we feel that we believe in. But for the most part, we give recognition to anybody that deserves it. So if we're not talking about you, you're not working hard enough. You're not doing enough. And that's just what it is. So if you don't like it, you have the ability to change it. Like, they act like we affect the game. You know what I'm saying? We have no effect on what happens. We just report on it. So whatever you go out there and do, we going to report on it. If you do well, you're going to be covered. If you don't do well, then it's going to be talked about. So the ball is in your court. You got all of the power to have us on here talking about how good you are. So it's on you. Hold yourself accountable. Be better. That's all it is. You want us to talk about you. You want us to rank you. Be better.
What you think, Dan?
Win games, get hot, you get in, right? Beat better teams, well, you're going to move up even more. Like, we had Argonauts at the beginning of the season hop into, I think, all 3 of our top 5s for the power rankings. They're not usually a football school, but we paid attention. We saw what they were doing. You know, they stumbled a little bit. We see Shepherd pop up. They get their shine, you know. So it's just been really cool to kind of see the unpredictableness of the whole season unfold. And, we're starting to see a couple of playoff contenders maybe emerge here too.
Definitely. I think another a good point that you made, FA, is it's on the field, it's winning. We don't have no effect to it. At the end of the day, it's like what you said last episode. We're doing this to bring excitement to the game, like excitement. We want people to be in the comments and caring. We want people to comment, and we want a little bit of the banter back and forth, people talking stuff to each other. But at the end of the day, none of that means nothing in the comments if y'all not performing on the field. And sometimes I feel like a little bit that a few of the schools, and I'm not gonna say anyone in particular, but some schools feel entitled to get some type of coverage, or sometimes they feel like we're like showing favoritism to other teams. When in reality, it's we're not playing favoritism to nobody. We may have relationships with other schools that we can probably cover a little bit more than others, but at the same time, I feel like we have a level playing field how we cover everybody. And at the end of the day, if you win it on the field, like I said with Shepherd, they forced us, not by saying like, come see us. It was more so they were playing good. It's like, oh shoot, there's a story there. We got to come see them play. And when we saw them play, they didn't let us down. I even said in the video, I was like, we came to the game. Y'all better not disappoint. And they didn't. So I think if other schools follow that same type of like plan and game plan going into every game, like they're not talking about us, well, we're going to show them why they should be talking about us when we in between these white lines, these white dotted lines, and play on the field. And whoever playing up against us, we're going to handle business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it was, and speaking on the SSC, it was tough to see TF South lose to TF North, but that was another example. It was like TF North won, and they did something that they haven't done in a while, was beat South back-to-back years in I think it was like 40 years or something like that.
50 years, something
like
that.
So that's a story right there. And you know what I mean? And Pigs had his conversation at the end where he was very passionate and talking to his guys. And I thought, you know what I mean? Like, I would have loved to have covered South and show South winning and holding the cup and everything. But, I mean, North had the better story, and they've been playing very well in comparison to South. So, man, I just think it's great football all around. I love to see everything that I'm seeing. We have 4 weeks left. Was it 4 weeks left in Illinois? And then 3 weeks left in Indiana. So, everything is in full swing. The season can go any direction right now. Like, depending on who gets hot, who gets cold, or whatever, man, I can't wait to see it. Y'all got any more takeaways from the season so far that we want to touch upon?
Yeah, I mean, if not, while we're on the Red Wolves, I know FA maybe had a little something to share, some news that's come up.
Yeah, so head coach Bob Padjen, he announced that this will actually be, his last season.
So he officially announced, like that was from
okay. So I think it was a scoop from the Lansing Journal, I believe.
Yeah.
And I actually saw it from Edgy Tim's page, so he posted it. But yeah, so I mean, for the people who don't know, we all graduated from South. We all played football at TL South. I coached football.
Big Padge, Little Padge.
Yep, for sure. So so those are our ties to TL South. If people don't know, but yeah, it's crazy because it's been, the program has been run by the Padjen family since the inception, and so I mean, who knows who's going to be next? You know what I mean? I think that's the question that's in the air, is like, who are they going to bring in? What do you guys think?
I think I want to ask you that because, I mean, it's okay to mention that you coached at South, right? Yeah. So with you having been like coached at South before, and you don't got to go, too much behind the scenes as far as like your personal thoughts on like things that was going on.
Right.
But as far as like, what do you think is next for them? What do you think the things that they should, the steps that they should take in order to better the program, and whether it's the coaching decision or whatever, what do you think they should do in order to take the right steps in the right direction?
So for my experience and from what I know is that one of the biggest issues that South has had as far as the production of the football team is just the numbers. And that's a issue that a lot of schools have been having, just because most of the athletes are willing to go somewhere else and play. So for a fact, I know there are a bunch of guys that live in Lansing and Linwood in the area that don't play at TF South. They go to Catholic schools. They go to different schools. So that would be the number one thing, is to figure out how to engage the community again. because the narrative out there is that if you play football at TF South, you won't get coached well, you won't have an opportunity to play high at the next level. It's just not a great standard of football, which it once was. And I think that is because a lot of the athletes leave the area. Because, I mean, even when we was there, we had people that transfer. I know people who left South and went to the 100%. Catholic schools and, you know, went to public league schools. So you always going to have that. But it's about having that foundation of athletes. So I don't even really care. I could just give my ideas because it's just the way things need to be done. It's going to begin with a feeder. We lost the Lancet Lions, and that is kind of a direct correlation of the football standard going down, is because now you have athletes who come into high school who have never played football a day in their life. So you have to teach 12, 13-year-olds the game when a lot of kids are playing at 5, 6, 7 who've been, they have a jump start. So now you have 4 years to make up for 10 years that they would have had. So that's the biggest issue as far as that I will see, is that you need to bring somebody in that understands the culture that is supposed to be set and the community. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing. The X's and O's is nothing special out here. You know what I mean? It's no secret book that's going to give you plays to help you win games. But I think the separation in okay programs and phenomenal programs is that you have somebody who's engaging in the community, and then sets a foundation of a strong culture. Like, that's what it is. So that's you have to look at your team. You have to look at the students in the building, the athletes, who's going to come in and they're going to, they're going to fit well with, who they're going to follow behind, who they're going to love. Like, that's what essentially it comes down to. I look at Pigs from North. The parents love Pigs. The community love Pigs. Like, that is the difference.
And he's from the community.
Yeah, he's from the community. So now you see TF North flourishing, because you have somebody who understands the community and understands the culture that's necessary for the kids to thrive. So that's all I would say, is that whoever you bring in, they have to have that identity that meshes with the kids. Because if you don't, then you have nothing. Like the video I made about Crown Point, it's all about culture over coaching. I'm going to take somebody who doesn't know as much about the game of football, but somebody that understands and loves people.
And community.
And yeah, that's the most important part, because now I could get these kids to do something so simple, but they'll do it to the best of their ability, because we have that relationship and we have that connection and understanding, versus somebody who's super complex, but then it doesn't resonate with the kids. And then you have issues, you know what I mean? So yeah, for me, that's what I think is most important, is just finding somebody who is true, not to what TF South has been, but what TF South will become.
Sure.
Very well said.
I got a hypothetical for you, actually, if you can role play with me for a second.
Gotcha.
Ring, ring, ring. Hello. This is Athletic Director Mark Brew on the phone here. May I speak with FAOV?
Answer the phone.
Hello. Yeah. This is him.
Hey, him. I'd really like to talk to you about the TF South head coach position we have here. You have any interest in that?
Definitely. Let's do it. That's all I would say. Let's do it.
No, without a question.
Let's do it.
Without a question.
Let's do it, because here's the thing. Like, this is something that, just I've envisioned for a long time. Like, even when I was in college and me and Devon would come back to South and we'll work out on the field, just even still being in college, just like, I'll tell him, like, bro, one day we got to come back and we got to do it. You know what I'm saying? We have to do it. I've always felt like it was my calling to do it. And there have been other high schools that have reached out that have wanted me to get on the staff. But for me, in my heart, I feel like I have a vision for South and for South football and what it can be, and having relationships with the kids in the community. I feel like I would honestly be the best person, because in terms of community, in terms of relationships, in terms of culture, I think that it will match what the kids are going through and dealing with now. You know what I mean? So it's like I said, it's more aspects to coaching than just that, but I feel like that's the strong foundation, and you can build off of that. You know what I mean? So even if not me, that's cool. But whoever you bring in, it has to have that type of identity, or it won't work. It won't work. You won't see the success that you once saw, because honestly, we're being honest, TF South football hasn't been what it used to be. It doesn't have that same reputation. And I mean, it's clear as day. Like, I mean, you can't, like we just said, you can't argue with numbers. We can't argue that TF South at once was a powerhouse in the South Suburban Conference. We made the playoffs all the time. It was crazy if we didn't make the playoffs. Like, you know what I mean? It was always expected. We always put out a good product of football. Like, it was no denying that. You know what I mean? I remember my freshman year was I feel like it's one of the greatest classes ever. And I got moved up for varsity as a freshman for the playoffs. So I was able to practice with those guys. So we talking about like Rob Sterling, DeAndre Thurman, like all those type of guys.
Gio was there.
Gio was younger.
He was younger?
Yeah, he wasn't in the senior class. But
Okay.
they had I think they had like 7 guys go D1 from that class. Ryan Templeton, the lineman, he went to Florida A&M. Like it was some killers like from that year. And I think we lost in the second round to Marmion Military Academy. And we beat Thornridge the first round, lost to Marmion Military Academy. But that point, I feel like that's been the prime of TF South football, other than, you know, obviously Pierre Thomas playing. But that I feel like that's the greatest class to ever play at South. You know what I mean? Just from what I've seen. But it hasn't been that since then. You know what I mean? It's just been slowly declining. Obviously, after we left, they had probably about a couple more good years. But the last 2 years has been 3-6 season, no playoffs. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I want to say something because obviously you coached at South and you've been there since, you know, we graduated. My first time, I didn't realize this until I actually was speaking to Masick when he asked the question. When I went to the TF South versus TF North game this like a couple weeks back, and obviously I came with a camera this time, but I was talking to Masick. He asked me the question. He said, "When the last time you actually stepped on this field?" And I thought about it. I'm like, damn, it's been like 10 years. Like I think the last time I stepped on that field was when we played North and we lost at the last second against that run touchdown our senior year, me Dan. And I saw a bunch of players that I played with at South. I saw Tori, I saw Jariel, I saw Fred, saw a bunch of people that we played with, and I feel like the conversation that we had that was consistent amongst whoever I spoke to there was that it's different. And it was like way different. Like the feeling, it was just like being there. Like when I came to the game, like filming. Obviously, the game started a little earlier than what it would usually start when we was going there, but still, like the feeling and like the rivalry, it just didn't feel the same. I remember when we would play North, it was crazy energy. I'm talking about from the whole week of practice. Obviously, I wasn't there for the practice, but the whole week of practice, all the way up to the pregame, all the way up to to warming up and everything to the kickoff. I felt like we always felt a sense of crazy energy. Like this is, you know, no matter what other game we play in the season that we may have lost, we bet not lose this game. And for some reason, and this just may be this is just my opinion, something fell off about that rivalry to the point that it didn't even feel like a rivalry. It just felt like a typical high school football game that I was filming.
yeah.
And I kept texting y'all during the game. I'm like, bro, something is weird about this. Like, and don't get me wrong, the fans were out, you know what I'm saying, from both sides. The stands were filled, but the energy, I don't know if it was from the sideline or something, it just felt off. Like, for example, I even gave Masson an example. They had a turnover at a crucial point in the game in the red zone, like TF South, and there was like no energy. And then shortly after that, they had a big long touchdown pass to, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Smoots.
Amari.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, that's like his. They related.
Amari, that's his nephew.
That's his nephew. Yeah, but it was a touchdown to him. Looking at the sideline, where's the energy, y'all? And I'm not tripping. Like it was even a point I was filming the pregame, and I had to cut some of that stuff out of the take because I'm like, bro, there's no energy. Like this looks bad.
So here, and this goes back to my point of feeder program. So there's a difference between playing football and being a football player. A lot of those kids don't know what it means to be a football player, what the energy is like, how you carry yourself as a football player, because this is a lot of their first time playing football. So they don't have it in them. Like if you've been doing this since you was 5-6 years old, it come with that swag, it come with that energy, it come with that, like, but they've never played before. So they just standing there. They don't know what's going on. They don't know they don't know. So that's why it's so important to have a feeder program so that you learn all of these things way before you get to high school. So that's a perfect example of me saying how important a feeder and the culture is, because that's a culture. That's how look at Morgan Park. You didn't have those issues at Morgan Park. You didn't have an issue with guys with energy. Like
at
you
all.
out here, bro. You love,
team.
bro. Why, bro? Don't get me started, because now you about to take it to another side where it's like, dude, you out here to play fucking football. How does that not energize you?
That's energized enough,
How
bro.
is that not energized? You supposed to be doing something you love, that you passionate about. How is there no passion there? It ain't like you going to school or you're out here playing. This is the greatest 2 hours of your life. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Sometimes 3 hours, depending on how the game goes.
Yeah. So how could you not? Why do I have to teach you how to be energized during that? Like I feel the energy when I'm out there.
Out
just
there,
on the
good
media
camera.
side. You feel me? Like,
Bro,
oh yeah, like
man. I just want to say something. And it goes back to your point of like, how are you not energized from just playing the sport, man? I remember before we started this, and I'm not gonna go on too long because I know we've been talking for a while, but I remember before we started this, and I saw you start the off-season athletics page, and that's when I probably started the podcast a little bit too, like with a couple of my friends. And I remember, bro, having dreams about watching high school film. Like dreams, like almost to the point that it was like damn near nightmares, because I say this all the time. I was a brilliant student of school, like in school, great athlete. But for some reason in my head, it never clicked to me in high school to watch high school film outside of my own highlights.
right.
I never really took the time to watch film and quarterbacks' tendencies on the offense and things like that. And I really feel like if I did, I would have been 10 times better of a player, because now I'm bringing that mental aspect to the game.
And
You know what I mean? And I would lose sleepless. Like I would have like sometimes wake up in the middle of the night. I'm talking about in my adulthood thinking like, man, if I can have high school football back, bro, like it's different. And then fast forward, we ended up linking up, running into each other. And it's like, dang, it all came back to the point. Now I'm filming high school football
Right.
to the point. This is the most high school film I've watched in my entire life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So going back to your point is like, how do they not have that energy? It's like who's responsible for bringing that out of them? You say that a lot of them, never played for a feeder program, but they're coming to high school and they're playing. I think it's on the coaches to teach them.
It is.
What it all comes back to is culture.
Culture.
It's
Yeah.
culture.
Keep saying it, it's
All the
culture.
best teams we talked about, Morgan Park, Crown Point, East St. Louis, right? It's culture.
It's an
It's
identity.
the structure they got in place.
Yeah.
You just plug somebody in, they know just what to do because you got the structure in place.
Yeah, and I think this is a good time for me to speak about some of the comments that I was getting on the coaching video that I made, and this is
Those
like
comments be crazy, bro, because sometimes I'm gonna let you know that.
Go ahead.
Sometimes it shows how naive people are.
Yeah,
And a lot of times people, most of the comments are good reception, but a lot of times you get those weird comments like, "Oh, this is a stupid comment," blah blah blah, and it's like it's coming from a coach.
Yeah,
and you're like, what?
Yeah, bro.
Go ahead,
and that's a lot of issues with coaches is the ego. A lot of coaches have ego problems, and that's something that I picked up on. Where it's like you're the coach, you're the leader, and you feel like your way is the way. And that's not the case. It's like I feel like being a great coach is having transparency and understanding that things change. So back to my video when I said coaches don't care, there's like a couple comments saying like there's no way a coach could not care because it takes a lot of time. Like a lot of time is required to be a coach. And so when I say you don't care, if things are changing and you aren't adapting, you don't care enough about the success of the team to put what you think is right behind you and adapt to something new. So how we're talking about culture, if you're not set on building a culture, you don't care. If you're not reaching out to parents, community engagement, building those type of relationships, you do not care. If you're still doing the same thing that you did 30 years ago, even though times have changed, you do not care. So I don't care that it takes a lot of time to be a coach. That doesn't mean that you're being efficient in being a coach and putting your kids in the best position to be successful. So that's what I mean by they do not care. There are a lot of coaches that are at programs that have a bunch of resources, that have turf fields, indoor fields, that have all the money. That's who I'm speaking to. I'm not speaking to the schools who can't keep the lights on for their games. I'm not talking about the schools who aren't getting paid. I'm talking about the people who are able to do great that are not doing great. Because obviously the schools who are underfunded, this doesn't apply to them. But I'm talking about the Souths of the world. You know what I mean? Where you have this big old gym for a weight room. You got a turf field. You got everything you could possibly need to be successful, but the success does not match that. So if you aren't willing to go in depth with the community, which I feel like community and culture is the number one thing. How many times does your coach talk to your parent outside of sport, outside of football, check on your mom, see how she's doing? She a single parent. How many times does he text her and see how things are going on in the household? Like those type of things are what build trust and that builds rapport. So now when the next person comes up and their kid wants to come to your school, they're going to talk to their parent and be like, okay, yeah, this coach cares. He loves, like, you know what I mean? And that's what's going to make people stay in the community. So you don't care if you aren't doing those things, because these are the things that you need to be a great coach. Like, it's as simple as that. If you don't want to do it, you're not going to win. You're not going to have success. And it's past winning. It's about building great men. So if you're not teaching them nothing about being men, you're failing. I don't care if you go 10-0. If you go 10-0 and you're creating bad character men, you failing. So it's not about the wins and losses, bro. It's about building community. Like, it's kids that I've coached that I'm going to have a relationship with for the rest of my life.
Still to this day.
To this day. And it ain't like I'm 40, 50 years old. I'm 28. You know what I mean? So it's many more kids that I'm going to affect. So that's the whole, like, that goes a long way. Me and Devon, last thing, like, me and Devon took a group of kids from South out to eat, and we gave them all copies of Rich Dad, Poor Dad book. You know what I mean?
You mentioned that one of the first podcast episodes.
Yeah, so it's just little things like that where it's like, yeah, it's not the world because we don't have everything we want as far as resources, but I know that book changed my perspective on things. And if I had known that a little bit earlier before I got to college, I would have made different decisions. So it ain't the world, but it's just a small seed that you plant that may change the mentality of a kid. And that's just a very small scale. Now, imagine when we get all of the resources we want, we're going to change hella lives. You know what I mean?
I'm telling you, man.
And it's going to come with winning a lot of games, too. So, yeah, that's it. That's it for me.
The great philosopher Aristotle once said, if you're going to do something, do it well. And, hey, this guy's ready to do it well. TF South.
He's trying
Look at my guy. He's ready.
Yeah, man. Look, that's just my last point. It's like coaching is nothing that's forced upon you. You know what I mean? You seek coaching. You go out and you apply. You know what comes with it. You know the grind that it takes. Don't do it if you're not ready to do it. So, because somebody else, you taking the opportunity away from somebody else that maybe wants to take it serious and do it, bro. Like, that's all I'm saying. It don't apply to everybody. If it don't apply, let it fly. If it apply, be better.
Got you. I mean, shoot, we talked about a lot of things. I think we could probably wrap it up soon. There is one thing I want to touch upon, though. Why y'all laughing?
Oh, no, because I feel like you about to say something crazy.
Nah.
What?
Derrick Rose retired.
Oh, yeah, that Derrick Rose retired, too. Man.
Oops.
Tear.
Dang.
Episode 25, though. Episode 25,
25.
Derrick Rose, send me your number, or Ben Wilson, whoever.
Retire that guy's jersey.
Yeah, man. Derrick Rose. That's one of the biggest what ifs.
Biggest what if of all time.
Of all time.
Sports history.
Youngest MVP in NBA history, and was plagued with injuries.
I look back at Grant Hill, Brandon Roy, Tyreek Evans, but like Derrick Rose was a step above all, and it's just to think
a lot of playing styles now was Derrick Rose was doing it first. Like Ja Morant playing style is very, very similar to how Derrick Rose is playing. Like point guard who's just crazy athletic. That you look at him and it's like, how is he that athletic? So. Man, congrats to a good retirement, though, because I feel like a retirement isn't a sad thing. It's a great thing. I mean, at the end of the day, with injuries, he had 15 seasons.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, man. That's a great career.
That's a great career,
like,
regardless. And he came out of Chicago.
Yeah, bro.
The South side of Chicago at that. Simeon, bro. So, yeah, I mean.
Yeah, that's a great career, a blessing. And I'm excited to see what he does post-career. You know what I mean? I've seen a lot of interviews, him talking about his purpose and what he should be doing in life. So I'm excited to see the journey he goes on after.
Pretty soon, his son going to be hooping in high school. Yeah. So and that's crazy. I remember his son was. I remember when his then I think they were fiance. That was his fiance at the time. I remember when she was pregnant with him. So it's like, man, now to see that he's gonna be in high school probably sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Hey, so, D Rose, get on the platform, man.
Let's talk about it.
Let's go.
Yeah, but the thing that I was gonna bring up was some of the comments on our page for the burner accounts. I ain't gonna lie, y'all are hilarious. Okay, we get it. Y'all are pretty funny. We got how many lawyers do we have on our account?
Lawyer firm,
lawyers, real estate agents.
Hey, they be tripping, bro. No, but I love it though.
They hate Richards, hate me. They hate my guts, boy.
Because you won't put them number one.
But here's the thing. All right, let's say that it's my opinion at the end of the day.
Sure.
It's my opinion. When I had North at number one, it was because, for one, I watched North play in person, just like I watched Richards play in person. By the way, we're paying attention to all these teams playing. It's not like we're just putting this out of the blue.
Right.
And the way I felt at the time, was that North was the best team. For one, they were undefeated. And for
Undefeated.
two, the way they were playing, I thought they were playing great football. I don't care if it's a close game. I don't care if y'all saying they're playing the first 2 games of the season, they played teams that was nobodies. So what? And they blew them out. They did exactly what they were supposed to do.
Exactly.
Now, if it was a closer game, then maybe they wouldn't be in my power rankings because they didn't do what they were supposed to do. But because they had 40-0 victories or whatever the score may have been, and they put up a bunch of points and the defense played well, they did exactly what they were supposed to do. I'm not going to fault a team of who they're lined up against. I'm going to fault them on how they played. You know what I mean? And if they played well, I kept them in my power rankings. I was a little sad to see them lose to Lamont, and I really wish I wanted to keep them on my power rankings. I wanted to ride that wave the whole season. I honestly wanted them to go undefeated. But like I said, man, it's you got to think, at the end of the day, it's all opinion. It's all trying to bring excitement to the game. And if you hate our opinion, then I understand. You can hate our opinion. You're going to disagree. People disagree with Stephen A. Smith all the time. He has a bunch of hot takes.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's an opinion. And I think what our purpose is, we're serving that purpose. We're providing a spotlight to, for one, the SSC, which is a conference that we played in that doesn't get as much recognition as the Catholic League or the CPS. I feel like we're in our purpose, and we're doing that, which is providing coverage to the conference that we once played in while we were in high school. So however y'all, the lawyers or the real estate agents feel, just know I got my opinion. Y'all got y'all's. Y'all can hate me all you want, but we're going to still provide spotlight to y'all because we feel like the SSC deserves it.
Yep.
And Richards has been balling. North has been balling. Lamont has been balling.
Yep.
Shepherd has been balling.
Yep.
The SSC has been balling, and we're going to continue to show that to the world.
Yeah.
No matter what y'all think about our power rankings.
Yep. And I think that's just that's a great thing to do, is because all of the major platforms are going to cover the best teams.
They're going to cover the
who are going to
CPS.
be the better. They're going to cover the Catholic League, the
yeah.
Southwest Suburban, like all of those teams.
The top
It's just
players
like,
in the state.
We all know for a fact that there's great football being played all over, and we want to do our best to recognize as many teams and people as we can. You know what I mean? Just because I feel like they deserve the spotlight. They deserve it. They're playing good football. They're winning games. They're putting up numbers. They deserve to be talked about. So that's just really the mission, the goal of this platform, is just to show love and create exposure, because it's really limited, because everybody wants to cover the absolute best. Okay, we know Mark Carmel's good. We know Morgan Park's good. We know Lincoln Way East is good. We know these teams are good, but what about the other teams who are also good but probably can't compete against those teams, but they still deserve some recognition? That's what it's about.
I think all we doing is putting you got the spotlight of the Catholic League and the CPS and all of that over here. What we're doing is like, let's kind of move it right here in this small little space right here. You know what I mean? I think that's all we're doing at the end of the day.
Yep.
You got any takeaways, Dan, before we try to wrap this episode?
Oh man,
up?
I love a good split up spotlight though.
Dan is hilarious. But all right, man. I thought we had a great conversation, man. A lot more high school football season to go. If your team is off to a bad start, man, the season is not over. There's 4 games left in Illinois, and there's 3 left in Indiana. So, y'all, this is the time of where you make or break your season. You know what I mean? Some teams can fall off the wagon and not make the playoffs. Some teams can go on a run like Nazareth last year and take that wave all the way to a state championship. So I can't wait to see what's in store for the rest of the season. There's been many surprises. There's been many things that we were spot on with, but there's a lot more football left to be played. Can't wait to see how everything else turns out. Sure. When we're recording this, Nazareth and St. Rita will be playing. We'll be having the full game highlights of that. We're going to be there. Maybe have some color commentary with that as well. So check that out, or it'll probably already be out by the time this video come out.
Right.
But yeah, man, this is the Off-Season Podcast, episode 25, and we are out. Deuces.